something that is quite close to my heart that I don't necessarily talk about on a regular basis is, where do you go after you have suffered major trauma? Obviously, your first knee-jerk reaction is that, you might need counseling, you might need somebody to help you work through the trauma. And obviously for that, you go and see a professional. Whether it's a trauma facilitator, whether it's a psychologist, psychiatrist, whether it's a counselor, whether it is somebody that you can sit and talk to, somebody that you trust. It doesn't really matter. But now you have worked through your trauma, you have healed, you feel lighter, you actually have this absolute sense of, I've got this. I've got this under the knee, I've got this, I've got this, I've got this. And you're happy. And you lie in your bed and you go like, okay, so I'm feeling better, I've worked through this, what now? And something that I have noticed is that when you've worked through your trauma, you might actually find that you don't know what to do next. You're living, you get up, you go to work, you are living. You're not necessarily thriving. So what is the difference between living and thriving? Living is doing what needs to be done. Technically, it's surviving. You're doing what needs to be done either for you to cope. If you're a mom, you're not just coping for yourself, you're coping for your children as well. In other words, a lot of times a parent would put one side their grief or work through their grief quicker and then focus on the children, allow the children to go for prolonged counseling or whatever the case may be. But now that we have worked through all of this, where are we going? If a mom or a dad has experienced this major trauma, a death of their loved one, their partner, you get up, you go to work, you come home, you start filling the spaces and the times that you guys would have been spending together. You start filling with other things. So you might watch more TV in the beginning, and you might not go away with the caravan. I had to sell the caravan because I can't for the love of me hook a caravan or pull it or park it. Just not my thing, not at all. But I sat down one day and I was thinking to myself, I've lived, I've survived, I've gone through the motions, the kids are okay, and so on and so forth, but my life feels empty. And then I started thinking, okay, is it empty because I want a partner? And I realized it's got nothing to do with a partner. I don't want a new love interest at that moment in my life. I'm not interested in anything like that, but I do feel like I want to do something. I don't just want to stay in the routine of going to work, coming home, going to work, coming home. Once in a month we go and visit this. And I got to the point where I was like, okay, what does Debbie want? And I had to go and look for a coach. I was blessed enough that I found one. And I had to go and look for a coach, and we had quite a few things that we had to work through, because through all the years, I've lost my identity. You merge with your partner, where it becomes okay, I'm going to read because I love to read, but you're still lying on the couch and reading, and the partner is doing whatever they want to do, watching TV, busy on Facebook, whatever they do. But now that there is no partner, do I still want to lie on the couch and read a book? Sometimes yes, but there needs to be more to Debbie. So after exploring a lot, I realized that it's all got to do with goal setting. sometimes you have to take a few steps back and look at yourself and go like, okay, I'm not with this person anymore. What do I want? In my case, it was a career change. That's what I wanted. I wanted a career change. I wanted to change quite a lot. And I did. Blessed. But the thing is, I also realized that I want to study. I grew up in a house where my brother and my sister, they are the smart ones. They are the ones that have got two brains. I just got one. And they excelled academically, like master's degrees and brain power galore. Not so much. It wasn't my thing. But luckily, times have changed, and all of a sudden we have short courses, and you've got things. You don't have to study for 4 years if you don't want to. You can just, learn a bit about enhance, here a refresher course, there, that. And I started doing that. And for the past 4 years, I have studied. Not the same thing. I did a little bit of this and a little bit of that, and I traveled. I traveled quite a lot. Me and the kids would literally take the map and go like, okay, so we've seen this part. Let's go to that province. Let's go and explore that. Let's do this. Let's do that. And we did. We put a lot of kilometers on the bakkie. But the thing is, if you are in that situation where you have to redefine yourself, because remember, when you were with that partner, you defined yourself as a couple. In other words, you became one of two. And if you guys had children, or even if you had pets that were like children, or still are, the reality is that became part of your definition of how you define yourself. And all of a sudden you find yourself in a situation where a part of your definition, in literal terms, have been removed. And because that part has been removed, you need to redefine yourself. You need to define where you are. What do you want for your tomorrow? So start small. I know I've said a lot. So let's backtrack. We understand how defining ourselves change because of our circumstances. And especially if you've suffered a trauma or a loss, you might get to a point where you realize that you need to redefine yourself. Let's say the trauma that you experienced is not a loss, but it's a hijacking. And you actually, you stood up to the hijacker and you got out alive. If you always thought of yourself as a pacifist, of somebody that wouldn't be aggressive and, you would behave in a certain way when something like this comes over your pathway, you have to redefine yourself because you behaved differently to what you thought you would. Doesn't take anything away from you. Remember, we do what we need to do to survive. If your knee-jerk reaction is aggression, so be it. If you never knew that's your knee-jerk reaction, you have to redefine yourself. Because in that situation, you handled yourself in a certain way. And it might not be the way that you thought you would handle it. Look at yourself and decide, what do I want to change for my tomorrow? Are you comfortable with what and who you are at this moment, with what you are doing and who you are? Is there something that you have always wanted to do but never did because you did not have the opportunity, the motivation, the financial ability? Can you do it now? Now that you've got extra time on your hands, can you enroll and do that course that you always wanted to do? Maybe take up crocheting. I crocheted a little handbag for my daughter. Yay! never thought that I would be at this point in my life where I am officially turning a little bit into my mom, but that's not the point. The point is, it's okay to redefine ourselves. It's okay to sit back and go like, okay, so what do I actually want to do on a Monday afternoon? Mondays are usually rough at work, so Mondays I want to stay at home and I want to watch Netflix or Disney Plus or whatever the case may be, any service provider that you have, and you just want to relax. Tuesdays, you guys always had date night, so that's a little bit difficult for you to be at home alone. So what about taking up a hobby? Go out for arts and crafts. Go out with a friend. Make a Tuesday, go and have a glass of wine with a friend, or go to the movies, go and watch not something that's going to make you sad. Or if you have kids, play a board game with the kids on a Tuesday. You know, redefine who you are now. Don't try and stay who you were. Because your situation has changed, you need to be able to adapt. Don't try and do the same things you did with the partner on your own. It's not who you are anymore. That part of the identification, the identity, your identity has changed because of what you've experienced. Something silly like some people start journaling. It's actually not silly. I journaled for many months. I journaled and it helped. It helped me to work through every day because I was going to work and I had challenges at work, but the thing is, the person that I used to talk to about the challenges were gone. So I had to write them down and I had to look at them from all angles, and I still did my washing on a Saturday, and I still did the lawn on a Saturday and a Sunday, and those things didn't change. The responsibilities that I had didn't change. Still had to make sure that the kids are happy. Still had to make sure that the kids have food. Still had to make sure that everything gets done. The only difference is I also now made time for Debbie. What does Debbie need? Does Debbie need a day to just go and do arts and crafts? And I did, but I included the kids in it. So yeah, some Swanay made earrings and bangles, and Darius just sat there going like, what am I contributing to this? And I forced him to make earrings. He can officially make earrings. Yay! It's a skill that nobody can take away from him. Nobody. The point is, I had to redefine who I am. But you don't always know why. And it's because you've lost part of your identity. The thing that you became partners in the new definition that you guys made as a married couple, as a long-term couple, or whatever the case may be, you two, both of you, contributed to that definition. And now one is gone, and the person that is left behind is now trying to figure out what is their definition. Because remember, the person you were when you met that individual or when you went through that event is not the same person after all that you have experienced. So allow yourself time and some healing and some exploration on who you are now that your circumstances have changed. And that's all I have to say about that.